children. Now let us learn about some more defects. Fine. One more defect known as astigmatism. So, what is astigmatism? Now, in case of astigmatism, imagine when a person suffering from astigmatism looks at a tree. You can say that some parts of the object he may observe it clearly, whereas the other parts of the objects may appear blurred. So it means the same object, when he looks at particular scene, some part of the scene he can observe clearly, whereas the other parts of the objects are appearing blurred to him. Okay, so in that condition, what is the defect he has? So if you observe, this is the cornea, which is the part of the sclera, the transparent part of the sclera. Okay, so if you observe this cornea and the cornea what we have seen in the second diagram, so you can see that the front part of the cornea is slightly projecting. So it means there is a disturbance in the curvature of the cornea. So there is no proper curvature of the cornea, or you can say that there is an uneven curvature of the cornea. So there is a uneven curvature of the cornea. So the reason behind the astigmatism is a small portion of the cornea is projecting out. What do we call it as an uneven curvature of the cornea? So due to this uneven curvature of the cornea, some parts of the objects are seen clearly, other parts are appearing blurred. Okay, children. So what is a rectification in such case? The person has to wear the cylindrical lens. So what is a rectification? So he has to wear the cylindrical lens so that he can view the objects clearly. Okay, now let us study about one more defect known as cataract, which is also more common among the elderly people. Children, we know that we have a transparent biconvex lens in our eye which alters the shape according to the distance at which we are viewing the objects, right? Now, as we are aged, as we are becoming old, the transparency of the transparency of the lens will be lost. It means the transparent lens now turns opaque. It turns opaque. So it means the lens has lost its transparency, so that there is no more entry of a light inside the eye to form the image on the retina. So the lens has turned opaque, which totally blocks the passage of light rays, where the person experiences the total blindness. He starts experiencing the total blindness. Okay, so in such a case, we call that condition as a cataract. So what is the meaning of a cataract? So cataract is a condition in which the transparent lens turns opaque, which leads to the blindness in that person. Okay, so what is a remedial measure? So this opaque lens has to be removed and it has to be replaced by the artificial plastic lens in place of the opaque lens, or if there is no placing of plastic lens inside the eye, the person can wear the biconvex lens, which is more convex in its nature. He can wear the convex lens so that he can view the objects clearly. Okay, and this plastic lens can be placed either in its original place or even in front of the iris. Okay, children. So this is a condition known as a cataract. Along with the cataract, there is one more defect known as a night blindness. Now, in case of a night blindness, this is the deficiency disease. This is the deficiency disorder. What is the deficiency? The person has a lack of vitamin A in his body. Now, what is the problem in the night blindness? Here, the person cannot view the objects in the dim light. It does not mean that he cannot see in the darkness, or even during the day, whenever his eye is exposed to the dim light, he finds difficult in viewing those objects. What do we call it as a night blindness? Now, vitamin A plays an important role in the synthesis of rhodopsin. Children, it helps in the synthesis of a pigment found in the rods known as a rhodopsin, which is stimulated in the dim light. Remember, just now I taught you, whenever you enter into the cinema hall, it is the regeneration of rhodopsin occurs so that you can view the objects clearly after few seconds. Okay, so in that situation, if a person has a deficiency of vitamin A, so there is no generation of rhodopsin in his eye where he cannot view the objects in that dim light. So hence, we have to consume the food which are rich in vitamin A so that there is a production of rhodopsin which enable us to view the objects in the dim light. Okay, now there is one more condition or a defect known as a color blindness. Children, in this condition, it is a genetic disorder. This is a genetic defect which is transmitted from parents to the offsprings, and especially it is more common among the boys or more common among the men, rare in females, which I am going to teach you when I take up the genetics chapter. Now, in this defect, the person cannot identify two colors, that is red and green color of the objects cannot be differentiated. Okay, so what is the meaning of a color blindness? It is a defect in which a person cannot identify the two colors, that is a red and green colors cannot be identified by this person suffering from color blindness, which is a genetic disorder or a genetic defect transmitted from parents to the offsprings, which is more among the men, rare in women. Okay, along with that, we also find people suffering from squint eyes. Okay, children, now when you look at the squint eyes, now in this condition, in fact, the muscles, that is 6 muscles which are attached to the eyeball, when they are not functioning properly, we find the people suffering from squint eyes. So which can be of 2 types. So in the first condition, you can say that the eyeball is pointing towards our nose. In this condition of the squint eye, we call it as a converging eyes. What do we name it as? Converging eyes, or we call it as a cross eyes. Okay. Let's see the other condition. So in this condition, you can say that the eyeball is diverging from your nasal part. So we call this condition of the squint eye as a wide eye or a diverging eyes. So in these conditions, when the muscles are not undergoing proper contraction or relaxation, the individual starts suffering from converging eyes or a cross eye or a wide eyes. And this defect can be corrected by the surgery or when a person has certain exercises carried in his eyes. Okay, this defect can be rectified. Okay, children. So these are some of the defects of the eye. Now, let us learn about the last part of the eye, known as stereoscopic vision or a binocular vision. Now, what is the meaning of a stereoscopic vision or a binocular vision? Imagine you are just observing this scenery from a far place. Or imagine you have visited one of the hilly station and you are just viewing the objects which are around you. Now, especially human beings have this stereoscopic vision or a binocular vision. Because of this binocular vision, a person can identify the distance of the object. It means he can measure the distance. He can even perceive the depth. Now take an example. When you just look into the well, when I ask you, where is the water? You can just approximately say that how far the water is from your eyes, or where you can say the depth of the water. Okay. Along with that, you can also measure the height of the object. All this we are able to measure. It's because of the particular capacity known as a binocular vision or a stereoscopic vision. Or you can say that we can have the 3-dimension of the object. That is, you can measure the distance, depth or the height of the object. That is a 3D effect of the object. It's because of the stereoscopic vision or a binocular vision that we have along with the monkeys or the apes. So, what is the meaning of a binocular vision? Children, let us just divide this scenery into 2 parts. Let me say it as a left part followed by the right part. So when you just look at the left side, you have around 4 trees on the left side along with one smaller house. Or when you look at the right side, you have a portion of the house on the right side and around 2 trees along with few birds. So when I ask you, can you tell me which is the smallest tree among the entire scenery? Immediately you will tell me the tree which is next to the big house is the small tree. Or when I ask you, which is the tree which is far away from all the other trees, you can tell me that the tree which is next to that big house, maybe it is far away where you are measuring, or you can tell me the distance. or you can tell me even the height of the tree when you just look at this scenery. Children, in fact, in this condition, the left eye will have an image of all these objects. So in the sense, in our left eye will have images of all these structures. What do we find on the left side of the scenery? In our right eye we have the images of these structures. What do we find on the right side? That is around 2 trees, few birds and a part of the house. So it means you can say that images in both the eyes are different from each other. So image formed in the left eye is different from the image formed in the right eye. Okay. So though they are two different images, but both the images will be carried to our brain. It is carried to our brain, and our brain will overlap. It overlaps the left image followed by right image, which gives the 3 dimension of that particular object. I repeat, so though the images in the left eye and the right eye are different, both these images are carried to our cerebrum of the brain in the occipital lobe. Both the images of left side and the right side images will be overlapped. It is brought together, it is overlapped. Dimension view of this scenery, due to which you can tell me about the distance of one of the tree, the height of one of the tree which is different from the other, or when you are just observing the water in a well, you can also tell me about the depth of the water. So we call this as a stereoscopic vision. So how do we define the word stereoscopic vision? It is nothing but the simultaneous focusing of an object in the both the eyes. I repeat, so how do we define the stereoscopic vision? It is the simultaneous focusing of an object in both the eyes, okay, and their images. So what is the meaning of their images? The images which are on the left side and the images which are on the right side of the eye are somewhat overlapped by the brain. Overlapped by the brain, which gives us, which provides us the 3-dimension effect. Okay, now children, so how do we define the word binocular vision? Children, look at the word bi means 2. So it means 2 images. Because of 2 eyes, we are able to have a 3D effect. Okay, so how do we define the word stereoscopic vision? So it is the simultaneous focusing. So it means at the same time we look at the entire scenery, but so simultaneous focusing of an object in both the eyes. So though we simultaneously focus, the image of the left eye is different from image of the right eye. So simultaneous focusing of an object in both the eyes and their images. Images of the left and right eye are somewhat overlapped by the brain. Which gives us the 3-dimension of the object, due to which we are able to perceive the distance depth and the height of the object. What do we call it as a binocular vision or a stereoscopic vision? Children, with this we complete about the human eye.